After a surprisingly caution-free first half of the race at Talladega, the latter half unfortunately saw many taking damage from multiple wrecks. But the superspeedway is behind us and the drivers can return to a bit of normalcy here at Kansas. For those chasing Holly, the results of last round might be felt in the points for quite a while. So today starts a climb back forward for those licking their wounds. We'll see if anyone begins to chip away at the huge lead of our current champion as we get ready to watch round 5 of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Adam, which would you like to be tonight? Lion, the Tin Man, or Scarecrow?
I'll take Bach, assistant to Glinda, Good Witch of the North, Joe. Oh, Auntie M, there's no place like home. Kansas Motor Speedway is a 1.5 mile or 2.41 kilometer tri-oval featuring 17 to 20 degrees of variable banking in the corners, 9 to 11 degrees of variable banking on the front straight, and a boring 5 degrees of regular banking on the backstretch. Now, this relatively new track hosted its inaugural race in 2001, which happened to be an ARCA race, with its first Cup race being hosted only a few months later, being won by Jeff Gordon. High banking, high stress, high tire wear, what's not to love? But something about this track cursed Gordon, though, as what followed was a 31-race winless streak in the Cup Series for the former champion. We'll see if tonight's winner will suffer a similar fate. Now, with variable banking all over the track and a drivable apron, battles are likely to be long and fierce around, as any lane is viable through these turns. The steep turn of the front stretch means a good runoff of 4 could secure you a spot, with a relatively short backstretch looking for passes to be completed once the drivers get into 2 and 4 tonight. But enough predictions. Let's take a peek behind the curtain and go for a ride in a NASCAR Gander Outdoors Series truck in our GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek and this is the Kansas Speedway in the GSRC Silverado. Kansas is a unique little 1.5 mile oval track. I'll get to why it's unique in a second. It's not your traditional 1.5 mile oval. So, for your hot lap, rather than digging right to that white line in turn 1, you're actually going to run the top roof. Roll out of it right there at about the Sprint Cup sign, maybe back down to about 50% throttle, but then immediately right back into the gas. You get a great run off of the corner back onto the backstretch. Going into turn 3, similar situation, but there's a very, very fine line right there that if you overdrive it, that fence will be waiting for you to not only ruin your day, but chances are ruin somebody else's day behind you. No white line rule here at Kansas. Bring it all the way down to the apron to get your hot lap. Once again, turn 1, roll out of the gas a little bit just to set the nose of the truck and then back in full throttle all the way off the corner, hugging those left side tires right onto that white line right there in the corner. Same situation in turn 3. Razor's edge here to find. Hug that white stripe that you see coming through the corner, back into the gas, and then back down the front stretch, down all the way to the front stretch grass. Kansas is just unique in that sense. The way that iRacing has done the progressive banking here, much like it's done in real life, it just lends itself to that top groove being fastest. You won't see guys here at the bottom really at any point in the run other than right off of the restart. You can hook the bottom pretty good as the car's coming up to speed. Everywhere else, you're going to see guys right up against the wall, rim riding, high, wide, and handsome. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
There you see a view from the truck out here, and well, we'll see how many of them manage to find the finish today. But we were talking about the championship, so why don't we glance at the drivers' points now? Because I mentioned that, unfortunately, with a lot of drivers having problems and with Holly taking his second win, the first driver to take 2 wins this season, there you see the gap between himself and Paul Williams. Hartman as well, who was his main challenger for much of the season so far. He wrecked out in the middle of last race, so he is now in more than an entire win behind in points, but we still have plenty of races left to go. Nick Schmeg, again, consistency in his favor. Now moves him up to 4th. Besaw down to P5 with that. Those two very close. So we'll see if that consistency will eventually put potentially Nick in the position to snag a win out there. We also have a teams championship. Adam, how is that shaping up?
Yeah, definitely. Consistency is really starting to play in the favor of back row racing. With Bradley Holly not finishing outside the top 2 this season, that's given them a 38-point lead over Whataback Ramrod. So that's a significant lead. Granted, that's still just a win if the 2 drivers in back row wreck out and Ramrod can get a win. 24/7 Motorsports is just 9 points behind Whataback Ramrod, with other guys only 1 point behind them, and then Formula One is only 3 points behind those as well. So, yep, it's very close for the mid-pack runners and not that far away for back row racing at the front, but it's still a pretty good cushion, I think.
Now, about the race details for today, since it's a much shorter track, as we see some of the drivers messing around out there here in the last of the warm-up, let's take a look at the details for today. And of course, as we mentioned, we are in round 5, and they do have 85 laps instead of the 55 that we had last time. Hopefully we'll be able to get that done before the 60 minutes today. They do have a fixed setup in this series, so everybody is using the exact same setup under the truck, but it is all down to the driver to find the speed. We do believe that there is one green-white checkers now, as we experienced that last week. We think they may have changed the rule. We'll try and get that confirmed this week with the rule makers, and they have a 13 incident limit out there today. They are serious now about drivers cleaning up their act. We'll see if we see anybody disappear with the very strict limits that they have out here, because that will mean 3 contacts and off track will send you off into the ether. Now, right now in the warm-up, I'm noticing that Rachel Hunt has continued her progress forward. She's been getting into the top 10s and close to the top 5s, and now, even though it doesn't count for a whole lot in terms of the race, Adam, boy, that number 16, she's looking good.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to see her get a pole. That would be a big surprise, considering we haven't seen her get one this whole season. She's been qualifying fairly poorly recently, but with this speed in practice, hopefully she can carry that momentum and also that confidence into qualifying.
Now, you mentioned that you can use quite a few different lanes. That kind of surprises me with the progressive banking around here. My experience with these progressive banking tracks is that the high line tends to be the popular way to go. So do you think we could see a lot of side-by-side racing throughout the race here today, or is everybody going to kind of gravitate towards a more ideal one?
I think people will gravitate towards the high line, but the low line is absolutely viable for a couple of laps if you've gotten your tires cooled down sufficiently, and you'll definitely see it being used on restarts to make some passes. So if you want to pass, diving down low, especially off of turn 4, will be the ideal way to get that done, because what you don't want to do is be going side by side into turn 3, because then you'll just wash up the track. I saw Bradley Holly do that on one of the practice restarts, so he's learned that lesson. I'm sure some of the other drivers will too, as tonight, and we just have to make sure that they don't do that during the race and cause an accident.
Now, fans of Trevor White, you heard us mention last week how he was supposed to get an EOL, but he didn't show up, so they have extended that penalty to here today, and he is here today. So unfortunately for Trevor, he's going to have to begin at the back of the line. The drivers just now finishing up that warm-up in the last few seconds here, and then they'll each get 2 laps out on the track. But it has been very hot on the track surface, so kind of curious to see if that's the conditions are going to change here at all in qualifying. Sometimes we can have that switch. You can see it's 103 degrees Fahrenheit in practice, as it's going to be updated here in just a moment now that we've swapped over to the qualifying session. And it stays at 103 degrees. So, going to be slippery.
Yeah, Joe, it's going to be very slick out there. So the question now is, it is about, oh goodness, it's 2:50 in the afternoon, virtual standard time, which means that this track's not going to cool off during qualifying. So it's possible that going out early, like we're seeing right now, from the 109 truck of Nicholas Hunter is the right way to go. But we do know that some drivers like to wait later. We see Rachel Hunt doing that. Bradley Holly's doing that. William Hartman is actually out on his first lap as well, and Robert Malikian crossing the line to start his first time lap.
Hartman definitely wants to get a good time here in qualifying and be up at the front so that he can challenge Holly, or at least be in front of him potentially. And it's worse than you thought. It's actually 1:50 p.m. virtual standard time. It's even earlier in the afternoon, so it's certainly not going to cool down from what we expect as we wait for drivers to get the first laps in. I see Hunter and Malikian close to coming across the line here, so let's see what they got on that first one through. Malikian with a 32-1. Colton Lane a little bit faster than him. Still seeing a lot of fast drivers waiting. Bradley Holly hasn't headed out yet. You saw Junior on the front row.
Yeah, 32 flat. William Hartman jumps up to the front with a really fast time, a 31.782. So good time from him being competitive. And he hits the wall in his second lap, so that will be his time.
Let's not forget that the pole is important here, not just for track position, but for points. You get 2 bonus points for pole position out here. They also have 2 for most laps led, and then you get 1 for leading a lap and 1 for the fastest lap of the race. There are certainly things to vie for if you're tight in the championship, or if you're doing everything you can to try and catch up to Holly, who still is sitting stationary in the pit lane. But William Hartman has managed to take the provisional pole.
And Jonathan Warren coming across for his second lap. It's going to be a 32.1. So that's a decent time. Moves him up to 7th place. We have a couple more people taking times now. Brett Adams coming across with a 32.127. So putting himself right behind Warren. And Zachary Jouar looks like coming around for his first lap now, entering turn 1.
Going to watch Sumner now as he also is finally out there. I think he's, let's see if he's starting this first lap or if this is his first timed lap as he crosses the line. That's his first timed lap at 32 flat. That will put him in 8th place. A nice top 10 for him, at least for the moment. They still have time to get out there for all the drivers that we're waiting on.
Yep, and Joe, I can report that Rachel Hunt is one of the last to roll off of pit lane for qualifying. Bradley Holly's already kicking off his lap. Looks like Jalen Battle has just finished his. He's not going to get a very fast lap, a 32.19. That's going to do him not much good right now. Frank Peacock coming across the line. He's starting his lap now.
Battle, another one that suffered last race. Holly is the one that we want to try and see if he can match Hartman and take that bonus, or those 2 bonus points rather, away. Catch him across the line. There is Kalen as well, currently sitting in 10th. That second lap, not quicker, unfortunately, about 0.2 down. It has actually cooled down a degree on the track. Not significant, but when you're working with small margins, you need everything you can get.
Bradley Holly does not snag pole on his first lap, of 31.839. So his second lap's going to have to be better, but with the hot temperatures, that's unlikely. Paul Williams just starting his lap now. We're going to see what he can do, and we'll see what Rachel Hunt can do as well on her first lap.
Up to 4th for the number 16. That'll put her on the 2nd row. What about Bradley Holly coming across for that second time around? Let's see what he's got as we watch Hunter on screen of the 312, and indeed it is 0.2 slower for Holly.
William Hartman on provisional pole right now. Austin Hunter setting his time, and that looks like Rob Haynes going to the 3rd position.
And Williams to 4th. That bumps down Hunt, and she doesn't improve on her second lap. I think you're right. It seems like that heat is making the tires a little bit too slick as the time runs out, and we are now done with our qualifying. With that set, why don't we go through our starting grid here for the day? Hartman manages to pull one over on Bradley Holly, who will start in 2nd behind him, with Rob Haynes, as we mentioned, jumping to the inside of row 2 at the very dying stages. Paul Williams as well into 4th beside him. Rachel Hunt slotted down into row 3, but still an excellent qualifying up to 5th. And Nick Ketchum starting P6. Josue Telez will be starting in 7th, with Colton Lane in 8th. Row 5 has Chatley on the inside. Dominic Begin rounding out your top 10.
Robert Malikian's going to start off P11 alongside Robert Besaw Jr. The Baker's Dozen position going to Mark Kalin alongside Charles Sumner in 14th. Row 8's going to be Adam Young and Mike Richter, with row 9 starting with Jonathan Warren in 17th and Brett Adams starting off 18th. Adam Shane is going to be 19th, and Austin Hunter rounding out the top 20 for the starting grid.
21st goes to Frank Peacock. You mentioned Jalen Battle doing miserable in his qualifying. He'll start 22nd. Nick Hunter will be P23, and then Baron Hilton in 24th. Hilton, one of those that struggled to get a clean pit in at Talladega. John LaBaff will be starting 25th. The last driver to get a time in was Zachary Zwar in 26. We have 2 drivers without setting a time, but only Trevor White will be starting this race, as Bertome is not in the race session right now. So we should see 27 starters here today for round 5. Just waiting for the Mustang pace car to lead the truck the trucks out onto the track here. Speaking of that pit entry, how is pit entry here? Is it pretty tricky as well?
Yeah, it's mostly just slick, Joe. It's not one of the most difficult pit entries in the world, but it's extremely slick, and it comes on you very quickly coming out of turn 4. So you have to get slowed down in the bottom lane, and that can be really challenging, and also surprise to drivers if they're deciding to use that to try and make a pass. But also, Joe, an interesting little tidbit of information: our top 25 qualifiers in under 0.7 of a second from one another, so it's very tight in qualifying.
Oof. Clearly, it's going to be tough to try and get away from everybody. Maybe tire management will make the difference over the long run if this eats up tires like Adam is predicting. Down this short backstretch and into turns 3 and 4 they go. It is a tiny little bull ring. Well, I guess not really tiny little bull ring. It's a mile and a half, I should say, around here, but still much tighter than what they had last round at Talladega. So how will they manage in the more tighter, cramped conditions? Mustang pace car is in. Hartman has control of the field. Waiting for that green flag to be thrown. There it goes. He gets a decent jump over Bradley Hawley. Hawley can't even jump down to the inside because Haynes already taking that away from him. Everybody working up to speed down through 1 and 2, pretty orderly, mostly through the field. As they come onto the backstretch, Adam, this is looking nice and calm.
Yeah, everyone's doing a good job. There's a little bit of compression in the back of the field because they were rolling off a little bit faster than everybody else. But everyone doing pretty good. It looks like everyone's going to that top side to try and preserve tires at this stage. No one diving down to the bottom for a pass just yet.
I saw Holly take a little bit of a look on Haynes for a second. That didn't work out. And in fact, Holly now has Rachel Hunt, who's moved up to 4th, pushing him down into turns 1 and 2. You're right. I'm seeing a lot of the front runners all up on that high side. The first side-by-side we even have is between Bajin and Lane, and that's from 9th and 10th.
Yeah, and that's because Colton Lane is stuck on the bottom. Oh, we actually have almost a spin right now. We got 2 trucks hung up on the tie side. Everyone's going to keep it collected, keep it calm, and keep it clean. Looks like we're not going to get a yellow out of this, but a really, really bad backup up there.
That was Chatley, and I'm not sure how exactly that happened. It almost looked like Bajin got into the back of Chatley.
Oh, and we have another truck in the wall.
Yeah. Oh, and we got incidents behind. This should bring out a caution as we have someone spinning. And that was Jonathan Warren, unfortunately, who gets the worst of everybody. So we'll see Chatley. On my screen, he disappeared for quite a while after he got hit.
Yes, he did. It looks like he had a disconnect of some sort.
When he was up against the wall, and this caused a lot of drivers to check up behind him, that eventually is what kicked it off for Warren, who appropriately goes for a bit of a twister around here.
Yeah, going for a twister, and he's realizing that, Brendan Chatley realized when he had that disconnect, he's not in Kansas anymore. But then he waits for a couple of seconds, and we're going to see him pop right back into reality right in front of Warren.
Well towards the back. And there you see, actually, he gets squeezed between 3 trucks. Ooh. And the 47 eventually is tipped up into the wall with a blown engine.
Wow, and Joe, after even just that amount of time, everybody's coming into the pits while we're watching this replay, so tire wear is at a premium tonight.
Wow.
That was only 2 laps.
Couple elected to stay out to get themselves some track position as we see that group heading down pit lane. It looks like Tellez, Williams, Kalen, Adams, Richter, Battle, and Hunter. I see Peacock out as well. I think they're the only ones. So eight trucks decided that it's worth the risk. Everybody else with barely two laps under green have come in for tires, and out first is Rob Haynes. Haynes with a 2-tire strategy.
Yeah, definitely a change of strategy for him. A really good strategy play, able to get him track position. And Joe, I'm used to racing the more, the races that are further into the, they're a little bit cooler than this one. And this one, with the high temperatures, is 105 degrees on track right now. With tire wear being what it is, this is going to be a really, take a look at that. Track temp 105, humidity 50%. Grip's going to be at a premium, and so I think my prediction that people are going to be using multiple lanes tonight, I think that's going to be going out the window here. I think track position's going to become the name of the game around here right now tonight.
And they've set this in October in the virtual world. My goodness, this is a hot October for the Midwest. 50% humidity with 81 degrees. That's very sticky out there. I see Chatley's come in, I assume to repair the damage from tucking up to the outside wall after disappearing.
Yeah, I mean, Chatley, he came into the pits even right after that yellow flags came out, so he's been trying to get some repairs done and probably diagnose what the heck happened with his disconnect. I've been in those before, and they could be really disconcerting. You start worrying about a lot of different things, about your setup, about your tech, about your internet connection, and it can take your mind right out of the game. So he's in there getting some repairs done to his truck and probably resetting himself mentally as well.
Hopefully he doesn't have to reset the router as well. But you can see the train of trucks is now on the backstretch. We're still not double file, so we won't be going back green for at least another lap and a half, which means we should be returning about lap 8 if things go quickly here.
Yeah, Joe, I think some people who watched the end of last week's race are going to start to worry about this one, but I don't think this one had to do with anyone being too eager or anything like that. I think it was just one of those things that you can't control happening with Chatley's connection dropping out and him popping in front of some of the drivers that weren't expecting him to be there. And so that added a lot of complication, and there's quite a few damaged trucks out there right now because of it.
Here's what we really want to watch. Again, these are the names of drivers that have not taken tires this time. Tellez, Williams, Kalen, Adams, Richter, Battle, Hunter, Peacock. Haynes, behind them directly, is on 2 tires. Everybody else took a 4-tire strategy. So it is pretty much split with one outlier on the strategy. And with only 2 laps under green, we're not exactly sure if it'll be that much of a difference. I would hope not. If it is, then I have a feeling every single caution will elicit every single driver coming in.
Yeah, I'll be interested most in seeing how Rob Haynes fares with that 2-tire stop, because if people notice that he did that, then that could become a viable strategy later on in the race if there are short cautions like this, especially if we get a green-white checkered towards the end.
All right, out of turn 4, the Mustang pace car now peels into the pit lane, and Williams has control of the field. Tellez has control of the field as the green flag is out. And behind them, it's a poor start from Kalen, starting to fall backwards already from those top 2. Peacock under threat from Hunter, as through the middle, there goes Hartman on those fresh tires.
Rob Haynes is going to try and follow through. He gets a little bump from the inside, but it looks like Hartman's going to clear him and is now up to P7, closing down on those top groups. But look at that. We have Brett Adams battling with Mark Kalen.
This is for 3rd position. Unfortunately, that low line not working out for Adams on the old tires, and everybody that was behind him immediately goes by, except for potentially Richter, who's still on his high side.
Yeah, and in the mid-pack, we have massive battles. Everyone all over the track right now. The 23 and the 51, side by side, Richter and Adams. With Adams getting stuck on that low side, he has to slot in behind, but look at this. William Hartman going down to the low side underneath Brett Adams right now.
67 of Hartman making the best use of that fresh rubber so far. He's already up to 6. Hawley's trying to chase him. He's got a car between them still, with Adams splitting the pair of them. Then we get a side-by-side battle behind them. That's Haynes and Hunt. Haynes working those 2 tires, not doing too badly, but certainly not keeping up with Hawley.
Yeah, Hawley and Hartman are showing their strengths right now as Rachel Hunt just hanging on to that high side, showing that the high side is the preferred line tonight. But look at this, Bradley Hawley getting a little bit slow up ahead of them and is actually under pressure from Brett Adams a little bit.
He just got by Adams, coming into 3. That gives Hawley 7th place and nobody between himself and Hartman. It's Hartman that he wants to chase because he's been on the pace with him, even though he's down in 3rd in the points currently. Oh, as we had a truck in the wall, that was Mike Richter. Just off of 2, brushed the exit. This is going to slow him up. The 67 saw it, and he's going to be able to get by down into 3 as Richter nearly drifts into him.
Bradley Hawley having to dive low there to get around him as well. And I can also report that Zachary Shore had a similar incident into 3 where he just got stuck on the wall a little bit and had to back out of it as well. We're looking back from Hawley back towards Richter, and we're going to see just the effectiveness of these tires. We're going to watch him just pull away right now.
Worth noting, though, that they've made a few positions, but they haven't screamed up to the top of the field. It's still Teles leading Williams up there in 1st and 2nd. I wonder if all the good is going to go out of that rubber after a few laps and they'll all even out.
I mean, I would expect it to. As we go on board with Brett Adams right now, I definitely think that all the good's starting to go off of these tires. I mean, it's 107 degrees on track, Joe. This is stressful stuff. Oh my goodness, William Hartman getting into the back of Jalen Battle as they get out of 1 and 2. Now they're going into 3 and 4 now. You can see him just ahead. Yeah, it looks like, look at this. Hartman just stuck on the bottom side, and Bradley Hawley's going to take advantage of that and go high.
Wow, the high line definitely looks like the way to go, at least through 3 and 4. That's going to put Hawley in 5th position. Neither has managed to overtake Battle quite yet. But he maybe duck under here and get the shot off the corner. The 194, very strong. The 184, rather, of Bradley Hawley. And down into turn 3, he makes it stick. That moves him to 4th.
A very tight setup on these early runs, and also a very slick track. And what that creates is just the sense that you can't turn the truck at all. This is a far cry from other setups that we've seen over the course of this season, where they've all been extremely loose to the point of braking. But this is just very interesting to see how all these drivers are coping with this different kind of setup time.
Out of all the drivers that took tires, only Hawley and Hartman have really made good use of them. Hunt is still back there in 9th, stuck behind Adams and Richter. She's managed to get by Peacock and Hunter, but other than that, no other of the many trucks that stayed out.
Joe, I'm not the professional that William Hartman is, but I find that William Hartman is, I think he's trying to pass in the wrong place. He's been trying to pass on the backstretch, and it's just too short. And then he gets stuck on that bottom line through 3 and 4, and that doesn't allow him to get the speed off the corner through the front stretch. So what he needs to do is set up Jalen Battle. As we're looking now, he's going to set up Jalen Battle onto the front stretch. Jalen Battle struggling a little bit on grip. He's going to slide down to the low side. William Hartman's going to have to take that high side, but if he can take it away in 1 and 2, he'll be good to go.
He's got momentum. And Jalen Battle is now given up the ghost and fallen to 6th spot, with Mike Richter right on his tail, thinking maybe he can scalp a position. Look at this. Took advantage of the 28 being held up through 1 and 2, but he's going to be on the low side. We haven't really seen that work very well. Maybe he tries a slide job, but there's a truck up there and they come together. Everybody dives low to avoid them. Great avoidance by all the trucks behind, but unfortunately, the 51 is off and around.
Yeah, Richter just trying to hang on to it, trying to keep it out of him, but he just couldn't get it done. He just slides up into battle here. You can see the left front tire just turning away farther and farther from Jalen Battle. He just has no grip. He can't get it turned down. And he just runs into battle and wrecks.
That was Adams, who was very close behind as the next truck back and managed to take avoiding maneuvers. This is from on-board Richter. Almost went over. His driver eventually got it pointed back forward, but that's going to be severe damage. They have no spare truck waiting for them, so they have to get repairs and hope that it's in good enough condition. Well, it doesn't look too bad from there.
Well, the big winners from this caution are Tellez, Williams, and Kalen. They come into the pits 1, 2, 3, and everybody pitting now. That run was long enough. And so now those guys are going to benefit majorly from that track position.
Tellez was very close on his stall, but it looks like he managed to get in there. He really slid it in. Does anybody, though, take the two-tire strategy that we saw before? Keeping a close eye on everybody out there. Not seeing any of the front runners risk it.
Did Williams beat Tellez out of the pits?
I think he did.
Yes! Wow, what a move from Williams.
It almost looked like Tellez slowed up at the last second. Because he was ahead of Williams, and then suddenly Williams was in front by just a couple inches.
There is a certain threshold in which you can speed on pit road and not get caught, and Williams being at the end of pit road can do it a little bit more advantageously than Tellez, who had to slow up right before hitting the line.
Well, they might have a billboard up at the side for the Kansas lottery, but nobody's willing to gamble this time around. It looks like everyone took 4 tires on this second go. We got a little bit of time before we'll come back with the green flag, so we'll take a short break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel to bring you more racing here for Round 5 from Kansas in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway. Your new order after those starts is Williams at the front, Tellez starting next to him, Kalen in third, and Bradley Hawley did manage to come back out of the pits in fourth, followed by Hartman in the top 5. Rachel Hunt did not too bad herself, having gained a few spots in those pit stops. She's up to 6, so outside of row 3, and the outside might be where you want to be, at least once the trucks are up to speed. So we'll see if anybody can manage to cling to that with a good restart here. They're already around 3 and 4, doubled up. So we're going to go racing on lap 22 once again. This is our second caution of the day that we just experienced after our longest run so far. The Mustang pace car is in, giving control to Williams. Good start from Williams, and an even better start there for his teammate, who's able to slot down into second without being overtaken like we saw last time with Holly. Kalen still on Holly's inside for third place as they try to get that sorted out.
I thought Kalen was going to be able to pull on Holly, but unfortunately Holly does the opposite and pulls on Kalen. He's going to have that outside going to 3 and 4, which should be the advantageous position, but Kalen just chucks it into the corner, and he's going to try and challenge Holly coming off of 3 and 4.
Yeah, way too shallow, though, it looks like, and Holly is very strong, already caught up to the back of Telez. This is for second position now. A lot of drivers finally getting themselves up to the high line, with very few trying to make that low line work. Pretty much everybody up to speed as Holly just about pulls the move. He's pulled on multiple trucks so far.
That is as tight as it gets, Joe. This rear view camera showing just how close that bumper is getting to the back of Telez right now. Telez trying to hang on to it, but Holly's going to dive low here. Looks like he might have the advantage. Oh, and a big mess in the back. Big mess in the back of the field. The 61 truck is around. Jalen Battle running into a couple of trucks right now.
Yeah, catch him in the 61 battle you mentioned. Blown engines for both of them. This starts with, I'm seeing Baron Hilton and Zachary Zwar making contact. And they have a 4 wide situation.
Yeah, there's a big checkup in front of this entire pack. I'm going to take a...
And both Zwar and Hilton come out okay. It's Ketchum who unfortunately gets spun down, and Battle, who just is in the wrong place at the wrong time. You get an onboard with Battle, you're going to see an absolute smash of a wreck. This is Ketchum's view. Yeah, there you see he gets spun all the way up to the outside wall.
I know we've looked at this a couple times, but after we're done with this one, we should take a look at Rob Haynes, because he gets collected actually, which causes the checkup, which causes this later wreck.
So let's see.
Yeah, Brett Adams slides up into Rob Haynes through 3 and 4, and that causes this backup.
Wow, we had completely missed that. Just at the front of the mid-pack. Chuck really thumps the tailgate of that truck. Then he gets a hit from behind from Malikian.
Yeah, the wreck between Adams and Haynes looks like a carbon copy of the one we just had from the last caution, with Brett Adams just unable to keep the truck down low and sliding up into Haynes, forcing him into the wall.
Well, that forces everybody back into the pits as well. Taking, well, not everybody actually. I think a number of our front runners decided to stay out.
That's right. Williams, Telez, Holly, Kalen, Hartman, Hunt, Adams, even after making contact. Yeah, a lot of people staying out right now, actually.
So I guess they made note of that first caution where many of them did take tires and noticed it didn't make a drastic enough difference, at least for most of the field. So, because we had, what, a 1.5 laps under green there, something like that?
Close to that. I think it was more like 2 or 3, and you know, the laps click by really quick around here. We're already on lap 26, even with 3 cautions, and so these guys did see what happened earlier on, and so the likes of Bradley Holly, William Hartman, Rachel Hunt staying out now, having taken note of the speed that the other guys had, even on those older tires.
Last time we were at a track of this length, a 1.5 miler, it was Charlotte for round 2. Hartman was the one that came out with that one, but right now Hartman is behind Holly. So Holly is looking to have the advantage. Boy, credit to Mark Kalin, who's up in 4th position. Not used to seeing him this far up.
Yeah, Kalen doing an excellent job tonight. Up 9 positions from the starting position of 15th. Of 13th, and he's doing an excellent job just hanging out with those top runners, running that high line and just staying committed to it. He's not giving way to the pressure of the likes of Hartman, Hunt, and Bisa Jr., who are often up at the front.
Still waiting for that one to go to come out from the flag stand. You can see they're already starting to prep, antsy to get going for some more green flag racing as we've only had one long green flag run so far. Otherwise, it's been cautions coming out pretty quickly afterwards.
Yeah, everyone's got to calm down a little bit and realize that these trucks aren't going to be able to take the speeds into the corners that they want at this stage in the game. They're going to need to realize that the speeds around here are going to need to slow down by 5 miles an hour or so in order to keep things from hitting the wall coming around the corner.
Boy, Rob Haynes cut it a little bit close, trying to get some more repairs, and is now back out as they are going to go double file. Looks like Peacock also going to try and get a few more, as well as Colton Lane. So some of these drivers not completely happy with where their trucks sit. And I think we had a couple drivers that were still under probation into this race, I'm pretty certain.
Yes, we did.
Franklin and Bajin, but Bajin, I don't believe Bajin caused one. And is Mike Franklin even here today? No, he is not.
Do not see him. So Trevor White would be the only one who's at risk, and as far as I know, he hasn't caused a wreck tonight. So, but Franklin and Bajin will still need to complete one more race in order to clear their record.
It's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking, especially with how things have been going here today. Can we get a clean restart this time? We've got Tellez and Williams up there, with Williams leading the fields. Teammates almost accelerating at the same time. You notice something in the back there, Adam?
No, I was just noticing just the direction that everyone went when we went to green. Everyone went straight to the apron, which is very interesting and caused a very kind of fascinating pull-out accordion effect there.
Ooh, but Tellez got caught up on the high side here on the restart. Hawley alongside in the 184. If he could send it in, he could maybe get something. He really sends it in. Way deep slide job up to the inside, but that's not going to work. Look at him lose pace. And now Tellez goes back underneath him, as well as Hartman managing to get by. Instead of gaining one position, he has lost 2.
But look at Kalen. Oh my goodness. Kalen almost had the position on Hartman. But look at this. Hawley's going to do it again. He's going to dive down to the inside and try and take a position away from Kalen. Kalen's going to sit up there on the high side and be stout this time, forcing Bradley Hawley to get behind him.
Hawley finally finds an opening up on the top side and slips in, but in 5th place after restarting in 3rd. This is great for Hartman, who again is trying to chase him in the championship.
And this mid-pack's not having any of it. Brennan Chatley just got sent into the wall again. He's still going. We're still green, but looks like everyone in the back's really struggling to keep these trucks out of the wall tonight.
And let's not forget that Williams in the number 7 is currently in 2nd in the championship, but leading this race. And now that Hawley had his problems, that is a lot more points that he's going to gain over him. So at this point, he wants Hawley to keep making moves like that and losing positions. Hawley, though, I think is too smart to make that same mistake twice. He's tight in the mid-pack. John McBath being chased by Austin Hunter, and Colton Lane still sorting out with Trevor White behind them. Back up at the front. Oh, is Hawley already working on Kalen? He's trying something. Doesn't work, though.
Yeah, it's just not going to work down the backstretch, Joe. We've seen William Hartman try this a couple times, but Bradley Hawley is the latest to fall victim to the idea that you can get by on the backstretch, but you just don't get enough position going into 3 and 4. And Bradley Hawley has shown us that even when you do have the gap, doing a slide job into 3 and 4 just opens you up to getting passed down the front stretch. So the best place to make a pass right now is on the front stretch if you can get a run.
Well, put yourself in Holly's shoes. If you're within the top 5 here, as Hartman nearly went wide coming out of 4, as we're watching on board with Tellez there, but he's got it inside down into 1. I'm not sure that this is going to work out, and indeed he's going to start to fall back.
He's going to have to slip up in front of Kalen, otherwise Kalen's going to get a run on him and pass him. Kalen doing the smart thing, staying behind, because getting down below him is just going to allow Bradley Holly to get by. But look at this, Holly's got a decent amount of speed, and he's carrying it through 3 and 4. If he can get a run here on Kalen through 1 and 2, through on the front stretch, I mean, it's almost 1 and 2 how much it's banked. Here he goes on the outside. He's going to try and get to the outside of Kalen. This is the right move.
He's got a nose out there. Kalen with that defensive move is unfortunately going to pay for it, as the 184 has the desired line. Makes him look like he's standing still, but he brushes the wall, and Kalen starts to come back to the low side, as well as Rachel Hunt now, but Hunt elects to lift.
That is absolutely the way to pass around this track right now. Look at this, Kalen having to dive deep into 3 and 4. Bradley Holly just going to do the over-under on him and swap him up, and now we got the leaders in with some lap traffic.
Wow, even the entry going low seems to really hurt most of these trucks. This is the lap traffic of Cheechak down there on the low side in the 55. Ooh, did Trevor White just have a problem? He suddenly lost a bunch of positions and was going
Trevor White.
low.
Oh, no! That is good. Oh, no.
Who did that? That was Hilton that got into him.
And that was a DNF from Hilton, I think.
Yeah, he disappeared. He hit the incident limit, it looks like.
Oh, Trevor White. Oh, no. This could be a suspension for him, a race ban.
Yeah, you could see he got doored and was up into the outside wall. And then when he tried to come back to the racing line, I don't know. I mean, he didn't seem like he did anything really untowards there.
No, but while we're watching this, the race is still going. We didn't get a yellow flag from that because Baron Hilton disappeared into the ether. So William Hartman right now trying to work on Josue Tellez.
Yeah, second place under threat, but Hartman has not been able to get by. And this is the question I was trying to get to multiple laps ago here. It is, put yourself into these trucks' positions, the driver's position. The way that the passing has been going, do you maybe just sit back and conserve your tires and wait for the race to come to you at this point?
That's what I would do, but that's because I wouldn't be making moves like this. I just don't have the guts for it. I don't trust myself enough like Hartman does to keep it low on the bottom. But he's going to lose a lot of time to Tellez and also time to Holly behind him. He's got to realize that what Holly did, even though he got put into the wall, he got pushed into the wall a little bit through 1 and 2. That's the right way to do it. You need to try and pass them on the outside, not on the inside. That's the only way you're going to be able to get passes done with how hot it is on track right now.
Temperatures actually continue to go up. It is 107 degrees Fahrenheit now that we've had the trucks cycling around and putting heat into the track. At some point, though, the high line with this being favored and thus getting some green flag running, do you think the grip will go away on that line enough?
I don't think it's going to go away enough to force guys to go lower. Not with this heat. That's just, there's no speed down there. The speeds might even out and it might make it more even through the turns, but you're definitely not going to find a better speed. So let's see what Hartman does here. He's got a run, but I think he's going to decide to stay behind Tellez right now.
There's just nothing there. And I'm pretty certain that Tellez and Williams are teammates. So Tellez is not going to want to let Williams get up to him so that he can challenge him for the points, the Drivers' Championship points. You can see is right on board on the dash of Hartman that there's just a spoiler stuck in his way. Meanwhile, Kalen losing another spot here.
Yeah, Kalen has hit the outside wall a couple of times on the exit of corners. These trucks are starting to get really difficult to handle. They're either too tight off the corner or you try and get the car to rotate by slamming the gas and it starts to spin off. So a lot of truck drivers really struggling with the exit right now. They're not backing up the corners quite enough. And even though it may seem slower to do so, it's going to save you damage and time in the pits.
Oh, and we had Adams in the wall down in the middle of the field. This is 13th place. He was in a fight with John LaBaff. Brett Adams only loses that one spot, so he managed to get it running again. Here we'll see it up into turn 3 right here.
Yeah, I'm seeing this a lot right now through the midfield. They're just having a really hard time turning these trucks in right now.
I think Bajin and Hunter were side by side. Hunter's going to try and press the issue as we come back live here down through 3 and 4, but that bottom line has proved fruitless.
Yeah, definitely. Fortunately, there's a little bit of shade creeping onto the track right now. Just a little bit, and so it's going to assist with these temperatures a little bit and make things a little easier for everybody.
Yeah, we're already to 2:30 p.m. virtual standard time. Ooh, and Hartman had another go at it, but backs out.
He doesn't have anywhere to go, Joe. Oh, here's some slip up from Tellez. This allows Hartman to get to the outside. This might be Hartman's best opportunity to grab P2. He's got to stick it through this corner.
Wow. And he takes advantage of it very quickly. Tellez, gets in the way. Slight contact with Holly, who drifts up into the outside wall. Holly's going to lose out as he collects it to Rachel Hunt, who now moves to 4th.
This is going to be really, this is what's super dangerous about this track right now. It's so slick on those bottom lines. Look at this. Tellez and Holly just doesn't expect him to be that slow through the corner, and he thinks he's going to get another lane out of it, but Tellez just can't turn the truck.
Watch from Holly's perspective. Yeah, I think he wanted that upper lane, and he thought maybe he could have it, but it just starts to disappear at the last moment.
Yeah, and I think Tellez was trying to give it to him, but just he couldn't turn the truck any further down.
Wow, this has been a fantastic run from Rachel Hunt, the 16, now up to 4th and ahead of Holly. Could we see her on the podium today potentially?
Definitely
not too far behind Tellez.
Yeah, definitely not. But Tellez has been proving a tough customer to pass. And Bradley Holly, even after a couple of contacts with multiple trucks, not that much damage. Look at this. Tellez is going to give Rachel Hunt that high line. And it looks like through it. Let's see whether Hunt can hang on to it. She's a little bit high. She's able to keep it off the wall. But this is giving a good run to Bradley Holly. Let's see what she does here. Her smart move would be to stay high.
Comes down low, and even though Holly's got a run, she's going to come back to the racing line before he can get his nose in. Hunt now on the podium.
And Tellez, I think, just giving the position to Holly kind of as an apology there. But look at this. Rachel Hunt's going to go low as well and allow Holly to go by. This is very interesting, Joe.
Interesting. And I mean, maybe she thinks that Holly is faster than her, so no point in trying to hold him up at this point. There's still quite a bit of race left to go. We've only just passed halfway here.
Yeah, but that's not how a race driver thinks. You don't think about, oh, the guy's faster, I'm going to let him go. You think the guy's faster, I better hold him behind me so he doesn't pass me and get points. Bradley Holly is in the lead of this championship by a wide margin. And if you have any hope as a team of catching him, you're going to have to block him at some point during this championship.
Speaking of more issues, back in 8th, Bajin going to lose that to Hunter after just losing it to Kalen, but Kalen gets up in the wall, scraping it hard, and eventually gets it off there. But boy, is that 62 slow, because now Richter as well going to take 9th place away.
Yeah, Kalen must be feeling super dejected right now. That's at least his 4th time in the wall that I've seen, and I haven't been watching him, solely this whole race, so he's really struggling with especially grip on exit through these corners.
Well, this has been happening. I think Hartman is reeling in Williams. What if we could get a lap comparison between 1st and 2nd place, because the 67 is not done with his climb and wants to try and overtake his championship rival.
Yeah, no, Hartman is definitely carrying more speed through the corners than Williams, and Williams has had no threat since this last restart. So it's possible that Williams is saving his stuff for a challenge like this.
There you go. Every of the last 5 laps, Hartman has been quicker. And it's now down to 0.3 of a second, with 67 looming ever larger in the mirrors of the number 7. But we saw earlier that Hartman struggled to try and overtake Tellez. Could he also have the same troubles with his teammate?
It's possible, but with Williams being second in the points compared to Hartman, I wouldn't see Williams moving over to let Hartman by, even though Hartman had that unfortunate season 2 seasons ago where he just barely missed out to Bradley Hawley in the championship. I wouldn't think that there's a 1-2 in this team right now, especially with how well Williams has been doing on track.
Yeah, I think Williams is going to prove to be incredibly difficult to overtake here today. And we got a taker in the pits, Besaw.
Yeah, that's another strategy that you have to think about. Maybe you get up to the back of Williams and you pit just to try and make sure you're not getting held up anymore. Besaw looks like this. Yeah, but this looks like it might be scheduled. No, he's going over the scheduled allotted time, so this must be damage repair.
Well, that is a shame for the 97. Yeah, you'd have to really take a big gamble hoping that it's going to stay green and you'll have the tires to catch them back up unless they also go green. Because can they make it on fuel after they pitted? What was it, lap 28 or somewhere around there, I believe it was?
I wouldn't think so. I would think they'd have to pit one more time, but it was probably pretty close, so we'll see what happens here.
I'm seeing lap 36, or excuse me, not lap 36, 36 laps that our front runners have been on this stint. Colton Lane, Austin Hunter is the highest driver to have more recently pitted 29 laps ago. He is in 6th, and he did take 4 fresh tires.
And I can also report, Mike Richter's in for a pit stop as well, and he's getting his tires done. I can also report that William Hartman, it looks like Mark Kalin has coming into the pits as well. William Hartman is actually pulling away from Bradley Hawley as well. Bradley unable to make any... Wow, Kalin came in hot to the pits.
Let's take a look at that and see if he sped as well. I'm going to check on mine.
Yeah, this has just not been Mark Kalin's day. I think he sped.
It was 52 miles an hour when he hit the line. And then you could see, unfortunately, also nearly spun out in the process. No, he had a quick stop. It was 14 seconds, so did not get a speeding penalty. Mid-South driver is safe, but he lost a lot of time on track with that happening under green.
All right, so the battling that William Hartman did earlier on is starting to wear on him. Paul Williams starting to pull away, just 0.2 even in this lap, and didn't look like Hartman made any mistakes. So Williams' preservation of tires is starting to pay off for him.
Speaking of tires, Richter right now is the highest to have pitted in this group. He's in 16th. He's 1.5 laps down. Now Colton Lane looks like he's going to come in.
Now, with how hot the track is, you're going to get a massive, massive speed bump for pitting. We're talking in the likes of 1.5 seconds per lap. So pitting early may be a good thing so long as we go all the way through these green flag pit stops and get back out into racing. Then you're going to have gained a lot of time. But if it goes to a caution, you're going to be suffering in the back unless these guys all decide to pit ahead of you. So it's really just an interesting strategy play.
Yeah, to give you an idea, 33.9, 34.1, 33.9 for most of the laps before the stop for Richter.
Oh,
and
Hartman's
after
pitting.
coming out.
And Hawley.
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness, that was close.
Yeah, Hawley nearly getting into the back of his his points rival.
He crossed the line at 53 miles an hour, so he might get a penalty, but they might give it to him.
Not wanting to get caught out by all of those who've been coming in. The 184 looks for his stall. So does Hartman. Hartman was very far into the stall, but they're going to count it.
If this works out for Hawley, he gained a ton of time on Hartman entering the pits. He made up that full 1.2 second gap.
All right, so Richter's coming around now. And where is Hawley? Hawley's back out, so Richter not able to catch them. Although he has got speed, and Hawley's getting still up to speed on the back stretch. Richter going to come out just about 5 seconds behind. Hartman retaining the lead of those who have pitted.
Wow. I mean, just stay with Hawley here, as he's going to go by Dominic Bajin, the current leader.
And Hartman,
the speed difference in the corner.
Williams came in to stop, and he is still down low. Hartman up high. The 67, our new leader, effectively.
1.5 second delta in what that you get with getting new tires. It's going to turn out to be more than that. 2 seconds now that William Hartman has pulled on Paul Williams. What a huge benefit pitting early does for you.
Still waiting on Bajin, Chatley, and Sumner to take their stops, other than trucks that are a lap down. And in fact, the first truck a lap down is Mike Richter. Williams has managed to get ahead of Bajin, so Williams will be on the lead lap. So will Hawley and Hartman if we get a caution.
So when are we going to see these front guys pit? Are they going to wait and hope that there's a caution? Or are they going to pit soon and try and lose as little time as possible? At this point, Joe, I think they're committed.
Another interesting thing as well, we've got 15 minutes left on the clock. We're on lap 64, 20 laps to go. That should be safe, but if we get a caution, that will tighten it up.
Yeah, that was Brett Adams into the wall, forced high by Bajin, it looks like. Very interesting moment there between the two of them.
Yeah, and that's got Mike Richter right behind them. So he definitely does not want to see that. He wants to get back on that lead lap, because right now all he has to do is get by Williams, who's still a little, by Bajin.
Here we go. This is Mike Richter, Colton Lane, and Dominic Bajin going 3 wide into 3.
Oh, and Bajin in the wall because of that. Almost comes down into Hunt, but manages to stay out of her. Bajin is still our leader, but very badly damaged. And chased by Chatley, another damaged truck.
This race is proving to separate the we from the chat. There is just a lot going on right now. It's so hot on track. These trucks are not handling well, and everyone just struggling to deal with the conditions. They're not really thinking about racing as much as just surviving at this stage of the game.
So Bajin is on the oldest of tire strategies, 47 laps right now. Chatley and Sumner, 40 laps on their tires. We've got 20 to go. Yeah, 20 laps to go now. And you think they can't make it on fuel?
Oh, after these pit stops, I think they can make it on fuel. They did 36 laps in the last stint, so they're definitely going to be able to make it at this stage in the game. So at this point, it's just a race to the flag, I think.
So I think Bajin, Chatley, Sumner have all basically decided to take a roll of the dice and see if they can get to the end and limp their cars quicker than Hartman can try and sprint his way to the checkered flag. Hartman Hartman and Hawley are very close together on track right now.
Both of these guys are 22.5 seconds behind Bajin, lapping probably about half a second a lap faster, but that pace is starting to wear off a little bit. But these front three are going to have to pit at some point, but let's see whether or not Hartman and Holly can sort this out. Let's see whether Holly can get Hartman, because he's definitely been gaining.
Down through 1 and 2. Less than a tenth separating both of them. Paul Williams is about 2 seconds back and ready to pick up the scraps if they start battling out on track.
Yeah, Holly's going to have to try and set Hartman up for the front straight, but Hartman knows this. He's tried to pass a couple of people today, so he's going to make sure that run doesn't happen for Holly, and it's going to make sure to defend that high side. He's going to make Holly go low if Holly's going to try and make this pass.
More trucks are getting their laps back. Kalen, down in 12th, has rejoined the lead lap.
Here goes Holly. Here comes the dive. Let's see whether or not Hartman can react.
The over-under, and I think he's going to be able to get it, but he's got to get up to the high side, and he's clear.
Woohoo! Holly taking a big risk there. He's going to try it one more time because they have a pick truck of Nicholas Hunter down on the low side. Hartman's going to try and do the over-under. He's going to get held up here. They're going to look at that. Hunter going low, and that allows Hartman to slip right in front. Here comes Holly again, trying it one more time.
And that was Sumner. That was for position. Hartman says, I can do this all day long. He's going to try and slide back up and barely gets there in time. This time, though, they got to be careful about how often they do that. They could come together and not only cause a caution, they'll help Bajin, but take themselves out of contention, as this time, finally, we're seeing Holly ride behind him.
Paul Williams is stuck behind Robert Malikian and Trevor White right now. Holly's going to dive low again and try this one more time.
I mean, it's going to put him in front momentarily, so maybe he's banking on a caution. I don't know, but it's clearly not working for Holly. He's thinking something we aren't.
Paul Williams needs to get up there with those two. With those two doing this lap in, lap out, they're losing tire grip left and right. Paul Williams is going to have a faster truck if they keep doing it.
Oh, and Bajin is in. He's waved the white flag, and not the one for the final lap. He's going to come into the pits. That leaves Chatley out.
Oh, Hartman got a bad exit off of Ford that time. This is going to give Bradley Holly a good opportunity. He's not going to be able to get up to the high side, though. He's actually going to stay in line with Hartman for the first time in a couple laps through 1 and 2.
So now they have to catch Chatley, who looks like he is staying out. The 59 is 5 seconds ahead. Another over-under.
Oh, I think this one's going to work.
Oh, wow. What happened there?
Hartman could not get a run on the high side. He went in too deep and lost the momentum. That gave Bradley Holly the opportunity, and now Holly's ahead. Hartman, I hope he's been taking notes, because he's going to have to do the same thing if he's going to try and get by Holly. But look at Holly start to snake away.
And they are on the same lap old tires, 14 laps old for both of them. So there's really no edge for either one in terms of strategy. They're coming up to Chatley now, who we're pretty certain is not going to be able to retain this lead. There's 3.5 seconds between them.
Yeah, but Holly's got to be careful. Looking in his rearview mirror, that's Paul Williams closing the gap from 2 seconds when he came out of the pits down to 1 second after all that battling. And he's going to have fresher tires because he hasn't been spending them trying to go low that many times. Hartman, slow off the corner. That's going to give Paul Williams even more of a gap closing.
It is now 10 laps to go as Chatley comes across the line. I don't know that he's going to get the win, but a podium or a top 5. Oh, we got a caution. Maybe he will win. That is Brett Adams who brought it out.
That changes everything.
And Bajin is kicking himself right now. He gave up just a couple laps too early. That put him a lap down. Adams was all on his own, just lost control. You can see eventually spun to a halt at the low side of 3.
All right, 76 laps We're probably going to restart around 80 laps. What do you do if you're Brendan Shatley out front with 50 lap old tires? You definitely pit. But if you're Bradley Hawley with 16 lap old tires, do you pit? Do you not pit? It's time for the gamble.
I say if you're Hawley, you have to.
In which case, you give Chatley the advantage, and he starts out P1, and you start out on the high side. That might be the right way, the right play.
There's one last look at the 23. We're still waiting for them to catch the pace car. Yeah, I don't think... I'm trying to see if anybody has fresh enough tires that they could risk staying out. And Bajin, I think, is the only one, really. But that's only going to give him his lap back, unfortunately.
Well, let's see what they do here. They're coming around. This is going to be their opportunity to pit. What do they do?
Chatley absolutely needs to. Hawley's coming in, and he is going to get tires. Williams stays out. Wow.
Oh, boy. Tellez stays out as well.
Well, this will be fascinating. And Williams has 17 lap old tires. So does Tellez. Anybody else staying out? Adams stays out since he didn't hit anything to get his lap back. Now, are we going to see an order change, though, when we have our drivers come back past the cone?
Oh, look at this. Chatley gets out ahead. Although, this is really interesting. If those front two do not pit, I think, does this... So Hartman came out ahead of Hawley.
Yeah, he got his spot back.
But that sticks him on the low side for the restart.
Oh, boy. Get ready for some excitement, people. This is going to be a wild finish. Hopefully we get to the end without needing that green-white checkers.
Yeah, they'll restart on lap 80, I believe.
We'll have 17 trucks on the lead lap, it looks like. So everybody else comes back out. 7 to go now for the pace car coming across the line. So your new order will be Williams, Tellez, Chatley, Hartman, Hawley, Lane, and Hunt for your first 4 rows, I guess, if you go back to Sumner.
I stand corrected. Bradley Hawley is stuck on the bottom side with Hartman on the high side.
I think that will work out well for Hartman, but we've seen Hawley be able to use that diving move to good effect. They now have fresher tires. Will that change the game on that?
And then also, will Tellez be able to get a good restart? I believe Williams and Tellez, they're running similar paint schemes.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that they are teammates of some sort. If not actual teammates, they might be on sister teams.
If they're synced up with one another, then that's a good restart for Hartman. But if Paul Williams gets a restart that's better, way better than Tellez, that's going to give the advantage to Hawley in this battle between Hawley and Hartman.
With the cautions that we've had as we now get double file, we haven't mentioned that we've lost a number of drivers. Warren, Battle, Ketchum, Hilton, Peacock, and Zwar are all DNFs for today. And you're right, we will be coming back with 5 laps to go. We just got confirmation they are, in fact, teammates.
So Williams and Tellez should start together unless they're not playing a team game during the races and just letting each other race, which many teams do on iRacing. You know, it's just a different preference. So it'll be really interesting to see how this restart goes, especially with Brendan Chatley on that low side in the second lane, kind of in the way of this, Joe.
And that they are part of the 24/7 Motorsports team, which Unfortunately, it's broken up a little bit because you can see Tellez is the 25 and Williams is the 7. They do have a 24. I'm trying to remember who that is. That is Hilton, who's out of the race. All right, here we go with 5 laps to go. A caution will bring us to a green-white checker. Can they get to the white flag? Old tires for our front row. Pace car is in. The number 7 gets on the loud pedal. As they don't have that much wheel spin, it looks like. It is pretty clean, but they do not scamper away from Brendan Chatley, our first driver on the fresh tires.
Chatley doing a good job, but Hawley got the best start of them all. William Hartman on the high side, losing speed and losing a position. Look at this. Paul Williams sliding up the hill in front of Tellez. Then look at this, Chatley down low, and Bradley Hawley almost going down 3 wide on the bottom. But wow, Williams really struggling on tires right now.
Williams has got the desired high line as they come up to speed, and still it doesn't work out because Chatley is back to the front. Can Chatley manage to hold off Hawley up to the high side once again? And we got a big caution. Hawley in it, Hartman in it. And it looks like one of the 24/7 trucks. That is Williams. Our 3 championship leaders in the points all involved in that wreck, and I think Hartman came out the best.
And now we go to a timed race. I think this might finish under this caution unless we go straight to the green-white checker declaration, which would give us a 1-lap shootout.
Absolutely. What a development that was. Hartman has got to be thanking his lucky stars. This actually started with Hartman, though. He might get penalty points on his license. He clips the side of the 7.
He was running out of room. He was getting squeezed in the middle of 3 wide. I mean, this. I don't know how you avoid this situation. No matter what truck driver you are, you got to enter the corner with a good line.
Let's get an onboard with Hunt, because Rachel threaded the needle through all this mess. We're watching from above one more time here just to get a good sense of things. There you see the 67 drifting up into the 7 and then all hell breaking loose. And that's Hunt back there in the 16.
The yellow and white flag is out, so it's possible that this race is going to start under, is going to finish under caution. Wow, Rachel Hunt, what hands, what driving. Oh my goodness.
And your order is Chatley, Lane, Hartman, Tellez, Hunt, Hunter for your top 5. Where did Hawley and all them come out in this? Did they get the trucks going? They did. Hawley and Williams in 15th and 16th. This is exactly what Hartman needed to get back in the game.
I know that wasn't his intention, but he's going to take it regardless, even if he takes a penalty for causing a caution. Oh no, Williams blew his engine.
Now, sometimes you can get the smoking engine and it's able to creep around. Is he still under power? Let's listen. He does have his engine going. He's got to baby that thing. He's got to hope that he can coast it to the line. Oh, wow. Right on board.
We should be coming around to the checker flag this time around. I don't believe that we were not going to make it to lap 85, so it should not be a green-white checker.
Let's go up to Brendan Chatley. He took a risk. He stayed out. He gutted it out onto those old tires. And look at this. He's going to take victory despite being involved in the first accident. The 59, your winner here at Kansas. Unbelievable. I wouldn't have thought it. That's going to take us to a quick break as well here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back, try to untangle everything. Oh, wait. We're still getting that final lap here, and we're not doubled up.
Is this a repeat of last week, Joe?
It might be, but they're not double file. The lights are still on. Maybe we are getting the green-white checkers.
Yep, it just came through. It
Yes.
just came through that we're getting a green-white checker.
Okay, all right then. Apologies to fans of Chatley. So we're going to get a 1-lap shootout. And
I have no idea how this is going to go.
Williams is still running, by the way.
I mean, how is he going to get around the track?
Oh,
How is
boy.
Hartman going to do with the significant damage that he has? Brendan Shatley's in the best position. He's definitely going to take off. So is Colton Lane. But what's Tellez going to do? He's got significant damage.
And Williams is coming into the pits. Williams is going to abandon it. That's going to give position to Hawley, who managed to come back out after a bit of repairs.
Is Hawley going to be able to catch up to Hartman?
No, not in a single lap. Hawley's in 14th.
But Hartman's got significant damage and probably is going to be slow on the straights. This could be a complete mess.
And they're not going to be able to get a caution here with it being 1 lap. So it is basically gloves off and make it to the checkers first. Chatley is going to have his work cut out for him. Lane is no slouch as well up on the high side. And Lane does have a clean car, I believe. Clean truck, rather.
Yeah, the cleanest trucks out there are Chatley, Lane, Hunt. I think those are the only clean trucks on the track left. And Hunt got a little bit of rear end damage from that last accident, but she's relatively clean.
All right. Mustang pace car is going to take off, and we've lost a lot of trucks now. You can see how much the field is thinned out. Chatley waiting for the green flag. He already accelerates away. This is a great jump over Colton Lane, and Chatley may have just given himself that win if he could just keep this gap back to them. Down to the low side, Hartman's not worried about all that damage. He has already moved into second place. Lane instead falling backwards as there's a big checkup. It's Tellez who seems to be slow, causing a lot of trucks to start to lose out, including Rob Haynes, who is quickly falling backwards. And Chatley has just escaped. He's packed his bags and he is gone. Up and to the line, your winner is still going to be Brendan Chatley. Doesn't change the result for us. Behind him, it is a battle for second, and Lane is going to be able to take it with Hunter, the one. Austin Hunter jumping up into third. What a great restart from him.
Yeah, he just snuck it by William Hartman. William Hartman was down about 20 miles per hour on the straight.
We're going to take one more look at the replay here. He's falling back on the low line and just somehow got the run off the corner. That's going to deny Hartman a podium. Hunt with a nice top 5 as well. And how in the world did Richter wind up in 6th? Just bizarre. What a finish. We're going to come back after a break for sure this time. And we'll give you the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen you're going to see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. back for the second week in a row here in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series. We had a one-lap shootout to finish the race here at Kansas. In the end, it wound up being Brennan Chatley who came back from damage in the opening laps. In fact, I think it might have been even the very first lap that he scraped the wall and won it all in the end. Colton Lane tried to challenge him to the finish, but did not get the restart he needed. He took second. Austin Hunter, 20th on the grid to a podium. And Billy Hartman, unfortunately, involved with that wreck that got us the one-lap shootout, went from the pole to finishing fourth, just outside of the podium. But he'll probably be happy considering his rivals finished well behind him. Rachel Hunt with another top 5 there. That number 16, I think, at some point could be in it for a win here with her pace lately. Mike Richter with a 6th, who we also did not expect, who was a lap down, I believe, at one point. John LaBaff with 7th, and Josue Telez in a P8, and Rob Haynes finishing 9th. Mark Kalin rounds out your top 10.
Adam Young is going to come home in 11th tonight alongside Nicholas Hunter in 12th. Robert Bissaud Jr. coming home in 13th position. Bradley Hawley, after that wreck that caused the final caution, coming home in 14th position, with Charles Sumner finishing in 15th. And then we got the trucks that are laps down. We got Paul Williams. These are all DNFs, Joe. Paul Williams finishing in 16th, Dominic Magine 17th, Robert Malicki in 18th, Adam Shane 19th, and Brett Adams rounding out your top 20.
Yeah, further disappointment behind them. Trevor White, Zach Zwar, Frank Peacock, Baron Hilton, Jalen Battle, Nick Ketchum, and Jonathan Warren. Bertome was they did not start today. That's going to bring us to Chatley here. Our winner, Brennan Chatley, taking victory for us incredibly unexpectedly. Brendan, I think, first of all, what happened, I believe it was on the very first lap, where you scraped the wall and we essentially wrote you off after that.
Yeah, I guess my internet dropped right before going into the corner there, and I guess Colton didn't know I was there anymore, and got me into the wall. But somehow, through all my strategy, I was able to get back up front.
Now, did you have enough fuel? And I assume you were intending to go all the way to the finish on those old tires when you stayed out after everybody came in pit under green.
Yeah, I was about 4 laps short. I was going to take about 2.5 gallons worth of fuel there to just get me through, and try and salvage a decent top 15 probably. But once that caution came out, the whole ball game changed.
Saved by the bell. Then you found yourself on the restart there, having to face off with some incredibly fast drivers. What was your strategy to stay ahead of them? Was it just hug that high line?
On the second to last restart, I knew Brad was going to try and take me 3 wide in the bottom there, so I kind of just hugged the bottom even coming off the corner. That was able to give me the advantage on the guys with 20 lap old tires there going into 3 and 4. I was able to clear them in the front stretch there right before the huge accident came.
And before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank for what is kind of a miraculous victory here?
Yeah, I'd like to thank ETC, the guys at Waterback, and my dad, who watches every race on Thursday morning.
Oh, I can't wait for him to watch this one. He'll probably be proud after that. That was our winner today, Brennan Chatley in the number 59, coming from 9th on the grid. And up next, second place, Colton Lane, talking to Adam.
Colton. Yeah, Colton, fantastic finish tonight, especially after the early ghost contact that you had with Brendan Chatley. What was it like driving through that accident?
I never saw Chatley on my screen. He actually blinked out in coming off of 4 that lap, and he came and asked me in our Discord what if I got damaged, but I didn't have anything affect me, so I guess I got lucky.
Yeah, and what was it like driving through the final accident as well, the one that caused the final caution with that front field getting tangled up there?
I didn't know it was happening until I got slammed in this side, but I think luckily me and William were just perfectly aligned to where he knocked me and I got knocked onto the apron, but that was it. I didn't get turned or anything crazy like that. So we both kind of got off a little bit lucky right there. At least I did.
Yeah, and with the track being, as hot to melt the tires like a cold bucket of water, what was it like driving those trucks around tonight? Was it really as hard as it looked?
It was kind of tight. I think not really tight, but it was definitely tighter early on. And then about, 15, 20 laps in, maybe a little sooner than that, you could feel the rear tires losing grip coming off of the corners, especially. So you had to be careful, which, I mean, I really would prefer to drive the car that way. PRL, the Sunday series, we ran Xfinity cars for almost like 2.5, 3 years. So I'm used to driving looser things. So it was pretty fun, though. It's really hard, though.
Well, fantastic finish, Colton. Is there anyone you want to thank today?
Yeah, I just got to shout out ABC again for the sponsorship on, Sundays and Wednesdays on the truck and the car. The guys at Waterback, because we always come out and race. And then just PRL and you guys for putting it on, man. We had try to put on a good race for you guys. And I think today was pretty good. We had a little bit of hiccups early on, but that last little long green flag run and that finish should have been pretty good to watch. So we'll see here.
Yeah, it was good stuff, Colton, and great talking to you today.
No problem. Take it easy, guys.
It was Colton Lane, P2 finisher in today's race. And next up is Joe with Austin Hunter, our P3 finisher.
Absolutely. Starting from 20th position, Austin, I don't think you expected a podium tonight. In fact, I've been going back to try and check how your race went because I don't think we even looked at you much. It seemed like you were in the mid-pack for most of the way.
Yeah, it definitely was. I really got lucky there towards the end. That long run really helped me. I can usually save tires pretty well and was able to move towards the front of the field pretty easy. And that last caution really helped me out. I was able to gain 3 or 4 positions there and get into contention.
You were one of the drivers that took the fresh tires under green, coming in for stops. Were you paying close attention to kind of what everybody else was doing? We heard from Chatley that he was 4 laps short on fuel, but what about you? Did you feel like you could maybe make it if you wanted to, or did you know that you wanted to split it up?
No, I knew I wanted to split it up. The fuel was probably 5 or 6 laps short for me as well, and tires were just so big that I wanted tires no matter what. So I was coming in.
Well, it's a fantastic podium tonight. Sometimes you got to take what's given to you, but next week it's going to a very tight and short track. How do you fare at half milers such as Martinsville?
I do surprisingly well at Martinsville. I usually get lucky missing some of the wrecks there, so I'm just hoping I can get lucky again and get another podium.
All right. Well, congratulations. Anybody you would like to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank the guys over at Waterback Racing and my sponsor, Brian Benedict with Al Consulting Group, and everybody, just Precision Racing League for putting on such a good league, and my wife for still letting me race online even though we're expecting a baby in the next couple of weeks. So I'm hoping I get to finish the season out without an appearance from the little one, but thank you guys for everything.
Well, congratulations, and I hope everything goes smoothly with that. That was 3rd place finisher Austin Hunter. The angry screeching on the back of his truck goes to happy screeching today. A big thank you goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast. You can see them listed here on your screen today, and also a thank you out to the PRL series for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But also we want to thank June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Adam, and Doug. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Our social media is Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page. If you haven't subscribed yet, you'll know it because the subscribe button will be big and red. Click it. You won't miss a moment here on GSRC. As we mentioned, heading over to Martinsville. That'll be Wednesday, October 23rd at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. See you on the track.